All right, so Chris Moore is coming back to Baltimore for another season. The Ravens signed him to a one-year deal, so he'll be rocking that purple and black this upcoming season. Now, the Ravens flock was a bit conflicted with this decision. On one hand, there were a lot of fans that are glad that Chris Moore's coming back because he's a great special teams player and he brings a lot to that unit. He's one of our best special team players, and you don't want to give up a guy like that because he's great with the punt returns and he's great with spotting the ball down at the one. He gets at those punts. He does a great job at it. He did that last season too, so he's a great special teams player. But on the other hand, there were a lot of Ravens fans that didn't want him to come back and were a bit surprised that the Ravens decided to bring him back because they thought he was not coming back. Now, me personally, I was one of the people that didn't think he wasn't coming back. It's not like I didn't want Chris Moore on the team. I just didn't see the Ravens bringing him back. I thought this was going to be the season that they were going to cut their ties with Chris Moore. If he came back, I was going to be happy with it. I was fine with it. But, I didn't expect him to come back, which is why when I saw this deal today, I was a bit surprised. Like I said, I'm not mad at the deal. I don't think this is a bad deal at all. In fact, I think this is a good decision by the Ravens at the end of the day. After I sat back and thought about it, this guy is such an important person on our special teams that it just doesn't make sense to get rid of him. He's probably one of the better special teams guys in the league. So why would you get rid of someone like that? Even though he's seen as a receiver in our depth, this is a guy that's such an essential piece in our special teams that you can't get rid of him. So when I sat back and thought about it, I was fine with the deal. So I'll say this. If the Ravens make this deal in order to keep him as a receiver, which I doubt they did, then this is a bad decision because Chris Moore is just not a good receiver. Yeah, but you brought him in, you drafted him years ago, and you've tried to develop him every year for the past 4 or 5 seasons, and it just hasn't worked out. Chris Moore will never be the receiver the Ravens want him to be. It's never going to happen. So if they brought him back to be have a more of a central role in the receiving core, it's not going to work out. This will be seen as a bad deal because he's not a great receiver. If they brought him back to be a key essential role in that special teams, the way he's been throughout his time in Baltimore, this is a great deal. Like I said, he's one of the better special teams players, and you don't want to get rid of a guy like that. Plus, it doesn't hurt to have him in the receiving core because he has that depth and he has somewhat of a connection with Lamar Jackson. So for the upcoming guys that we're going to get in the draft, because I believe that Koska is going to get 2 receivers. I'm convinced at this point that Koska is going to draft 2 receivers. And I'm looking at those second-round picks, and I'm like, he's going to use those second-round picks to get 2 receivers. That first-round pick's going to be a linebacker. The second-round picks are those 2 second-round picks. Those are receivers in my eyes. Until I see otherwise, I'm sticking with that. But yeah, he's just a great guy. It's great to have him at depth, but he's just a guy that has that experience and that somewhat of a chemistry with Lamar Jackson, so he can definitely help out the upcoming rookie receivers that come in after this draft. Plus, like I said, he is an essential role in the special teams. Nobody can track the ball better than this guy. He's so great at stopping punts at the one that it's fantastic. He does so much for the special teams that, honestly, getting rid of him at this point wouldn't be a smart thing. So for the Ravens fans that want him gone, I can understand how you feel. I feel that personally too in terms of him being a receiver because I don't like seeing Chris Moore out there as a receiver. He's not a great receiver. It's not like he doesn't have great hands, but he's just not a good receiver, man. There's not many plays you can really look at where you can just point to Chris Moore being a great receiver, but there are so many plays you can look at Chris Moore and say, this guy is just not a great receiver. Last year, in fact, Cleveland, the dude is down the field wide open. Nobody is near him for 15 yards. He's down the field 30 yards. Lamar throws the ball to him. He's open. What happens? Incomplete. He catches the ball, but he has 1 foot out of bounds. You're a veteran receiver, and you lack the awareness to see where your feet are placed? How do you mess that up? He was wide open. That is no excuse for a veteran receiver. That's no excuse for any receiver. There was nobody on him. Chris Moore was also the same receiver 2 years ago in 2017 when we were going up against Cincinnati. He ended up fumbling with that ball. He couldn't make the catch. What happens? It gets picked off by Cincinnati and goes down the field for a pick 6. Funny enough, he was the hero in that game because of what? Special teams. Just before the half, he almost ran back a kick return and got down to around the 10, the 6-yard line. So he ran that back, and that gave back hope. He also ended up catching a touchdown before halftime. So he was the hero going into halftime because of the play he made on special teams. But as a receiver, he ended up messing up in the third quarter, and that ended up causing the pick 6. So Chris Moore as a receiver is not good on this team. Chris Moore as a special teams player is fantastic. So when you look at this deal, if this was to keep him as one of your key pieces on special teams, another great move by DeCosta, because you don't want to give up that guy who's a key piece of the special teams and is one of the better players on special teams. You don't want him to go to another team. But if you kept him here thinking he's going to help the receiving core, yeah, you guys made a mistake if that's the case. And I don't think that's the case. I think they kept him here for special teams because that's where he is great. No wonder Harbaugh loves him so much. Harbaugh is a special teams guy, and this guy is one of your best special teams players. Obviously, he would want to keep him for special teams. So, Ravens fans, if you're mad about this deal, if you think this deal is bad, I can understand where you're coming from, but you got to understand, for a guy like this who's so great on special teams, you got to keep him. Plus, if you think he's going to be one of the main guys in the receiving core, it's likely, but we'll see. Maybe they draft 2 receivers. Plus, we're all forgetting, this guy, Jaleel Scott's still on the team. He's still on the team. Don't you think he's going to get a chance himself? Who knows? Maybe he could be the guy for the Ravens. We got to see. He's still on the team. So who knows? Maybe Chris Moore doesn't even see the field that much. But anyway, that's all I got for this. I'm not mad at the deal. I'm glad Chris Moore is back. He's going to be a great guy on special teams, and we'll just see where we go. That's all I got for you guys, and I'm out. Peace!